Hello everyone and welcome to a new reading vlog. This reading vlog is going to be a little bit different to my usual ones, and that is because I'm planning on reading books that were sent to me for my 25th birthday. Now, if you haven't watched that vlog, I will leave it linked up above and down below for you guys, as well as my birthday book haul once that goes live. But I was sent some amazing sounding books by three of my booktube friends. We have Emily from Emily Kathleen Reads, Chloe from Chloe Reads Books, and Victoria from What Victoria Read. And I wanted to film this video as a kind of thank you note to them, but also to actually prioritize the books and see what I thought of them. Those three know me so well. They all decided to get me either murder mystery or thrillers, and I just thought that would be a really fun vlog to film. I did film a reading vlog last year where I read some murder mystery books and a few thrillers, and I had a really good time. So I've decided to do the same again, but of course it's a little bit more special because these books were sent to me by some of my booktube besties, and I honestly can't wait to dive into each and every single one. I do have 4 books that I'm planning on reading for this vlog, but I'm not going to go into the synopses and that now. I will do that once I have started to read them, because otherwise this first clip is going to be way too long and boring. But I will quickly give you a run through of the books that I do plan on reading. This is in no particular order, by the way. At the time of filming this clip, I don't actually know which books I'm going to read first and how I'm going to structure this vlog. But the first book I have to show you guys is No Escape by Lucy Clarke. This is a murder mystery thriller book that just gives me those summer vibes. If you couldn't tell from the cover, I read The Castaways by Lucy Clarke and I own The Hike by this author as well. This one though has been on my radar for a while, mainly because of the beautiful cover, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not going abroad over the summer holidays this year because I am moving into my new house, so I feel like this is just drawing me in right now. I can't wait to give it a go and hopefully it lives up to my expectations. Then I have Murder on the Menu by Alex Coombs. This is one I've actually never heard of before, and I need to say actually that both these first 2 books were sent to me by Emily, so thank you so much Emily for these ones. This isn't one that was on my wish list or anything. Emily decided to get it for me because we both love murder mystery books, and this I feel like is going to be a more comedic take on the murder mystery genre. I may be completely wrong, but from what I read from the synopsis it does give me those types of vibes, and yeah, I just feel like it's going to be an interesting one. It says the heat is on to find the killer in the kitchen, and we are set in the idyllic countryside where we have a new chef who has just come to the village. The next book that I'm going to be featuring in this vlog is Midsummer Mysteries by Agatha Christie, and this one was very kindly sent to me by Victoria, so thank you once again Victoria for this one. This is a beautiful bind-up of a load of different short stories by Agatha Christie, who is the queen of crime. I'm currently making my way through the Poirot books by Agatha Christie. I have read all the Marple books and I just can't get enough of her stories, so this will be the perfect book for me to sit down with over the next few weeks and just try and read a few stories here and there where I can. I don't feel like I'm going to read this one in its entirety. I feel like I do want to spread it out just to make sure that I pay enough attention to the individual mysteries, but this is a beautiful edition. I already own the winter collection and also the autumn one as well. I haven't read any of them yet though, so this is going to be my first one, and if I love this one and the next 2, I will of course buy the spring collection to make sure that I have all 4 books. I am also collecting these gorgeous hardcover editions of Agatha Christie's books at the minute, so this will fit right in beautifully with those books. And I don't know if there's a list of the stories that are included in this one. Let me check. Yes, there is. So we have The Bloodstained Pavements, The Double Clue, Death on the Nile, Harlequin's Lane, The Adventure of the Italian Nobleman, Jane in Search of a Job, The Disappearance of Mr. Davenheim, The Idle House of Astarte, The Raja's Emerald, The Oracle at Delphi, The Adventure of the Sinister Stranger, and The Incredible Theft. Now, I don't believe that Death on the Nile is going to be the full-length novel because that would probably be the same length as this book, but I'm excited to dive in anyway and see what Agatha Christie has come up with, and hopefully I will love these ones as much as I enjoy her full-length novels. And then the last book I'm going to be featuring in this vlog is The It Girl by Ruth Ware. This one was very kindly sent to me by Chloe, so thank you so much Chloe for this one, and to top it off, this is actually signed, which I honestly couldn't believe. This is of course a thriller. I have read 2 books by Ruth Ware in the past. I've read The Turn of the Key and also One by One. The Turn of the Key wasn't my favourite. I really didn't like that one, which I think is an unpopular opinion because a lot of people recommend that book. However, One by One is one that I enjoyed a lot more. So I'm hopeful for this one. The synopsis does sound intriguing. It doesn't give too much away either, so hopefully this can be one that I dive into and just fly through. That is definitely what I'm needing at the minute. I have been picking up a lot of thrillers recently and I have been devouring them, and I'm just hoping that this is a Ruth Ware that I gel with and that I really do enjoy. So there we have it. Those are the books that I'm going to be featuring in this vlog. I am so excited to dive into each and every single one of these. They're all so different, which I feel like is something I need right now. I have been reading a lot of the same books and I think having this selection is going to keep me intrigued and it's going to make me want to pick them up as well. So thank you once again to Chloe, Victoria and Emily for sending me such a good selection of books. I hope I love them. I'm sorry in advance if I don't, but I'd imagine that I will enjoy all of them, to be honest with you guys. These sound like exactly my type of books and I can't wait to get started with this vlog. To be honest, I feel like looking at this stack, I am probably going to start off with No Escape by Lucy Clarke, just because I'm so excited for this one. It's one that I've had on my wish list for a while and I definitely want those holiday vibes right now. So I feel like this is where I'm going to go first. However, it's not set in stone, things can change, but you'll see in the next clip what I decided to do anyway. But I'm pretty sure that this is going to be my first read of this vlog. I want to start off this clip by mentioning the fact that it is so hot and humid today, so please excuse the state of me. I am going to be out and about today, but I honestly did not want to put makeup on my face because I just knew that it would melt off straight away. So this is what we're dealing with. I was also going to do my hair, but then again I thought there's no point. If I straighten it, it's just going to make me too hot. So this is what you've got. I apologise. I will say though, I have started No Escape by Lucy Clarke. I am now 182 pages in. I wanted to get about halfway through this book before updating you, just because I feel like if I updated you more frequently, this vlog would be way too long. I know I have 4 books that I want to talk about, so I am going to try and keep these updates a little bit shorter, but hopefully I will have quite a bit to say. Please excuse Kiwi barking in the background. I am going to read you the back of this book because it's initially what drew me in, and when I first opened it, when I received it from Emily for my birthday, I again was just so excited to read this because of the synopsis. So it says, a secret yacht, a tide of lies, one killer holiday. Seeking the escape of a lifetime, best friends Kitty and Lana journey to the Philippines. There they discover the Blue, a beautiful yacht with a wandering crew. As they sail through sparkling seas and discover untouched islands, their old lives drift away on the current. But everyone on the Blue is running from something, and when a swell of secrets threatens to end the adventure, someone let paradise go, whatever the price. Doesn't that just draw you in straight away, guys? I didn't know, but this was also previously published as The Blue. So if some of you are thinking that you've never heard of this book, but you're familiar with Lucy Clarke's works, then that is probably why it was published under a different name the first time round. I don't know why they changed it, but I feel like it fits, and I love the cover for this. It just draws you in, doesn't it? And yeah, I feel like the marketing side of this was definitely spot on. Sorry guys, I have just had to throw my hair up because I was getting way too hot. It's unbearable actually, and I don't know why, because the weather's been so weird recently. It's been so cold, and I think as soon as we get a little bit of sun or a little bit of humidity, I can't handle it. So yeah, I feel like if I would have been where this book is set, across the Philippines and the different islands there, then I could definitely deal with the heat, but unfortunately I'm not. I'm in Wales, and yeah, we're definitely not cut out for the heat here when we don't have a pool or a beach to escape to. As I've said though, I am really enjoying this book so far. We are following one character in particular who has decided to spontaneously travel to the Philippines with her best friend, and when they get there they meet the crew of the Blue, which is a yacht, and it's essentially a group of people who have found themselves together and have made a life sailing on this yacht. Something obviously happens to bring them all together, and Lana and Kitty are invited to join the crew on the Blue when they next leave port, and of course both of them jump at the chance. Who wouldn't? Honestly, I would love to be able to do that. But as they spend more and more time with this crew and as they learn more about each other, it turns out that it's not as idyllic as it first seemed. Now what I love about this book is that it's actually told through dual timelines. So we have Lana in present day, and we also have Lana when she first went to the Philippines and when she met the crew of the Blue, and obviously everything everything that led up to the moment that has now kind of ultimately brought everyone back together. I'm trying so hard not to say too much because I really don't want to spoil it, but I feel like the way it's written is so compelling. I am liking the before chapters a lot better because obviously that's where the mystery is at and you see the build up to that done very well. But the characters are all so compelling. They each have their own individual voice and they are very distinguishable from each other. And I feel like that's such a hard thing to do sometimes, especially in a confined space like a yacht, because they can't escape from each other. Tensions are high, relationships start happening that could alter the course of the friendship dynamic on this yacht, and yeah, it's just so well done. It's so compelling. I'm so intrigued. I don't really know what the full mystery is going to be yet and how it gets resolved, so I definitely want to carry on reading. But I do have other plans for today. Tom and I are actually going to see the new Deadpool and Wolverine film. We are massive Marvel fans and this film has been a highly anticipated one for us. We haven't necessarily loved the direction that the last few Marvel films have gone in, so we're really hoping that we love this one. I'm sure we're bound to because we've loved the previous two. Ryan Reynolds is now a massive figure in Welsh history because he's obviously bought Wrexham Football Club with Rob McElhenney, and yeah, he's just promoting Wrexham and Wales as a whole, and it's kind of shot us into the limelight a little bit, so it's been really cool following along as well with the behind the scenes, because Tom and I do watch Welcome to Wrexham, which is his documentary alongside Rob, where they follow Wrexham Football Club for a season and show us what's going on essentially, and there were some behind the scenes bits in that documentary, so yeah, Tom and I are definitely excited. We can't wait to go watch it, so we are about to head off to do that. It is also Sean's birthday today, who is my cousin Adriana's partner. We're all great friends, we're really close, so we'll probably try and see them at some point today. We'll maybe go to the pub, have a drink or two, but yeah, we'll see. Nothing's really set in stone. All that we know is that we're going to see Deadpool, and I will let you guys know what I think about it because yeah, as I said, Marvel's not been the best recently. Tom and I have actually cancelled our Cineworld Unlimited memberships as well. We were members since 2018, I want to say, but recently we've been feeling like films haven't been advertised, and when they have been released in cinema, they've only been there for like 2 weeks. They've had a really short release time, and so we didn't feel like it was worth it for us, especially now that there aren't as many films coming out. So we have stopped that, which is a bit of a shame, but we needed to save money, and realistically we weren't making use out of it as we had done previously. So yeah, that is the plan. I think Tom is going to drive, so I can probably read some more on the way to the cinema and back. Not sure when I'll next update you though, depending on how the day goes. I would like to update you once I've finished this. I know I haven't really spoken too much about it yet. I'm trying not to spoil it, but all you need to know is that it's such a compelling read. It's in an amazing setting. The dual timeline is a really good setup for it, and it moves the story along really well. I feel like you get important information interspersed throughout the story without it being info dumpy, and yeah, I just feel like it's something that could happen as well. The setting of this is idyllic, but it's not unachievable, and so I feel like yeah, this is a really good book. I'm having a good time, and I'm gonna head off now, go to the cinema, and yeah, update you guys once I have hopefully finished this book. Right guys, it has been a few days since I last updated you, but I did in fact finish No Escape by Lucy Clarke before heading out with Ads and Sean, but by the time I had gotten ready and made tea, it was time to go, and I didn't have any time to update you then, unfortunately. Before diving into my thoughts on this one though, I would just like to briefly talk about Deadpool and Wolverine. I said I was going to give you a quick little review, and oh my goodness you guys, that is one of the best films that I've watched in a while. I've loved the first two Deadpool films. I haven't really watched a lot of X-Men films, but this film has definitely made me want to go back and watch those, so I think Tom and I are planning on doing that soon. I have watched Logan though, so I was familiar with Wolverine's arc and what happened at the end of that film, of course, that led up to this one, and the way that both stories were incorporated was done so well. And even though I've kind of grown tired of Marvel recently and their sacred timeline, it did make sense, and it was done in a comedic way that made it it feel not less serious, but like the characters themselves were sick and tired of the sacred timeline and the way that Marvel was going as well. And of course, with the nature of Deadpool, it's just so self-destructive, and yeah, it was just so funny. They made some personal jokes, which I don't know if they'll stand the test of time, but at the time we were laughing. It was actually really nice to be in a cinema where everyone was laughing. There were some bits where I was genuinely uncontrollably belly laughing, and normally I get quite embarrassed because I'm the only one, but the whole cinema was doing exactly the same as me. Even the intro, if you've seen that with the Backstreet Boys music, I was genuinely crying. It was so funny. Tom and I couldn't stop laughing. It was done so well, but it also made sense, you know? It wasn't just thrown in there for comedic value. I personally think it brought something to the film, and it did somehow move the story along as well, which I did really appreciate. It was so great to see Deadpool and Wolverine team up as well. We had a lot of conflict throughout. We had a lot of issues that both characters needed to work through, and I feel like through each other they definitely managed it. I'm of course not going to talk any more in depth about the plot, but it was such an emotional film actually, because one minute you were laughing, then it was like you could almost cry for what was happening to these characters, and the ending as well was just an emotional roller coaster. So I came out of this cinema and I was buzzing. I would love to go and see it again, and yeah, I think that definitely reignited my love for the Marvel films, because I haven't really been interested in the things that have been coming out recently. I've started to watch them and I've given up, or I've watched them all the way through and I've just been a bit let down. So the fact that this film went back to its roots but also had all of these new fun elements to it was just so refreshing, and yeah, I absolutely loved it, if you couldn't tell. Moving on to No Escape though, I'm so happy to say guys that I also loved this book. I ended up giving it 5 stars. I genuinely could not put it down, and I was so invested in the mystery and also what was going on with the characters that I was just completely sucked in. Now I will say this isn't a thriller. I won't say I actually went into it thinking it was a thriller, but I did think that it would have some sort of thriller elements to it. It really doesn't. It is a very compelling murder mystery book in which we have an isolated setting where a murder occurs and you're trying to figure out what actually happened and who knows what happened as well. I feel like it's really difficult to write a very good isolated murder mystery book because you need to be invested in all of the different characters in order to follow along with the story and actually be invested in the story, and I can honestly say that I really was. There were some big reveals in here as well that I didn't actually see coming, which shocked me in the best way. Everything made sense, and I really do like that this is told in dual timeline. So you basically figure out at the start of this book that the Blue, which is the yacht that this group of friends were on, was involved in some sort of accident and it was sinking. All of the crew were reported missing, and we are following our main character Lana, who for reasons unknown at the start of this book wasn't on the boat when it sank. So she is being sucked into this investigation and trying to figure out what went on, whilst also trying to get the police involved and move this investigation along. But then we also flash back to the past where Lana and her best friend Kitty embark on their adventure to the Philippines, and they get invited aboard the Blue, where they spend a few weeks and months traveling with this group of people. Now of course, being in such an isolated setting and environment creates a bit of tension. There are rules set by the skipper where people aren't allowed to be in relationships. You have to pull your weight, you have to pay for different things as well, and if your money runs out then unfortunately you will have to leave the boat, which of course just makes sense. And because of that we see a lot of arguments start to happen, we see a lot of conflict come to light, and there's some conflict as well that we're not sure why it's actually a big thing until later on in the book. So I feel like the pacing was just so good. It kept me hooked throughout. I flew through this one considering it's quite a big murder mystery as well, and I feel like it's the perfect summertime read because I wanted to be on the Blue so badly. Even in the bits where they're traveling through storms and they're not really loving it, I would have loved to have been there just because I personally love boats. Every time I go abroad I have to book a boat trip because something about being on the sea just appeals to me and I really do love it. However, yeah, I don't know if I could live on a boat because of the different things that go on and the fact that if anything happens you are miles away from anyone at sea, at the mercy of Mother Nature and yeah, all the animals as well that live there. So yeah. That's all I'm gonna say, but I can happily say that I love this one. I would highly recommend it. If you couldn't tell, thank you so much, Emily, for sending this one to me. I flew through it and it's definitely up there with one of my favourite books. I am so excited to get to more books from Lucy Clark now. We have one of the girls, actually, the cover's on the back here, that I believe is a murder mystery set in Greece, and I was gonna read that last year when I went to Cos. However, I prioritised books that I already owned for that trip rather than buying new ones, but I will definitely be looking to read that one next year. And then I also have The Hike, which I am planning on reading soon. So this has definitely spurred me on to read more books from this author. I did read The Castaways by Lucy Clark on one of my holidays, I want to say like 2 years ago, and that was really interesting. That was a book about a plane crash though, and I started reading it on the plane, so I would not recommend, but as an overall mystery it was really good. I definitely prefer this one though. This is definitely more up my street. It has all those summer vibes, and whilst the other one is on an isolated island, I just preferred the overall structure and plot of this book. I am not sure which book I'm going to read next. I may dive into Midsummer Mysteries by Agatha Christie so that I can just read 1 or 2 stories and get going with that book. I feel like that's one that I am going to read slowly over the course of a few days, just because I do want to pay attention to all of the mysteries. Short stories aren't normally my type of thing, but I do enjoy a short story from Agatha Christie, so hopefully I do end up enjoying those. If that's the route I decide to go down, I may read The It Girl next as my novel, because I don't really want to dive into another murder mystery straight away. I would rather dive into a thriller. Ruth Ware books tend to be more fast-paced, so hopefully that is the case with this one. And once I decide what I'm going to read next, I will of course let you guys know. Just popping in to let you guys know that I have decided my next read is going to be The It Girl by Ruth Ware. I am very excited to dive into this one. Hopefully I can get through it pretty quickly. Saying that though, I am currently reading 2 other books, and I'm also filming reading vlogs for those, so I am jumping between quite a few different stories at the minute, but I'm hoping that once I dive into this one I won't want to put it down, and that way I can get through it pretty quickly. So I'm gonna sit down now and get started with this one, and I'll of course update you guys once I'm a little bit further in. Right guys, it's a lot later now. I have taken off my makeup, my hair's in a bun, my glasses are on. That's how you guys know that I have had enough for the day. But I wanted to film this clip because it's actually a very exciting one. You may be able to tell that I am not in my usual filming setup, and that is because I'm actually in my office at my new house. We decided to bring the sofa around today because Tom's parents came to see us, and his dad actually has a Hilux and this could fit, and we decided, you know what, there's no point in waiting around. We have the space, we might as well take it over there, and that's what we've decided to do. So this is the first big piece of furniture that has made it to the new house. I am honestly so happy with it. I'm actually going to move you down a tiny bit because I feel like you can't quite see me. There we go. Yeah, I am so happy. It's starting to feel real now, guys. I think we're going to start moving in pretty soon. We have a lot of exciting things coming in the next few weeks, and yeah, it's just crazy to think that we are actually starting to move house now. But yeah, essentially that is why I look a state. We have just been here since, obviously we took this here, we had to take it apart, put it back together, and I was just not feeling like I wanted to have a face full of makeup on or anything like that, so I've taken it off, and then I'm gonna have a shower once I get back home. But I did want to update you guys because I have made it up to page 182 of The It Girl by Ruth Ware, so I have made quite a dent in it today. Not quite halfway I don't think, but it's pretty much almost there. The beginning of this one was definitely a lot slower, however as we are getting further into the story and as more kind of secrets are being revealed, I find myself really wanting to carry on reading, and I really do want to know what's going on. In this one we follow our main character Hannah, and whilst she was at university, unfortunately her best friend and roommate April was killed. Hannah was the one to find her body, and she is also the only witness from that night who actually saw who she believed to be the suspect leaving their apartment. Because of this, her testimony helped put this person behind bars. However, years later, a podcaster starts digging around and comes to believe that the person who was convicted of the crime was actually innocent. Of course, that then raises a whole lot of questions. If he didn't kill her, then who did? And the more that Hannah starts to think about this, the more she realizes that the perpetrator could potentially be someone that she knows. This is such an interesting mystery so far. It's also told in dual timeline, which is an element that I really do like in my books, especially my thrillers. I feel like I want to say that I am currently more interested in the past timeline for obvious reasons, because that is where we are getting all of the information that is leading us up to what actually occurred. We're getting a lot of background information, of course. We are meeting all of our characters and getting to know them, and then we also have the present timeline, which I do actually enjoy. It's not like I'm disliking it. I feel like it's less interesting because we're following Hannah kind of trying to come to terms with the fact that what she believed to have happened might not have been the truth. And so yeah, it is interesting because we see how the relationships she had with her friends have developed over the years since April's death, and how April's death continues to haunt every single one of them to this day. Hannah is also pregnant in the current timeline, which is a really interesting perspective actually, and we see how this new kind of information on the case is affecting her and also her child. It's not only taking a mental toll but also a physical one that really does affect every aspect of her life. And yeah, I just feel like that is such an interesting element. In terms of the characters, we do have a large cast of characters, but it's definitely easy to distinguish all of them from each other. I wouldn't say I have a favourite so far, but I will say that I definitely have my suspicions around one person in particular as a potential murder suspect. So yeah, I'm not sure where it's going to go from here. I'm probably completely wrong, but I've got a weird sense that this person is the killer. I don't feel like that's going to hinder my enjoyment at all of this book. I kind of want to see how it all plays out and if this person turns out to be the killer, because yeah, I'm actually not sure where it's going to go from here. But Hannah has decided to kind of investigate further. She's taken it upon herself to dig into this case once again, even against the advice of some of the other friends. And yeah, the more she digs, the more she's obviously going to find out, and I'm interested to see what actually happened and how Hannah uncovers the truth, because she probably will, let's be honest. I want to know the truth, but yeah, it might not play out the way that I think it will. I'm just hoping that it does pay off, because a lot of thrillers don't hit the mark for me with the ending, and I'm really hoping that this one does. So that is where I'm up to at the minute. I am not sure how much reading I'm going to get done over the course of the next few days because we are pretty busy. I think we're going to start moving stuff where we can and just declutter the old house as well. So I'm not sure when I'll next update you guys. It will definitely be once I finish the book, because in vlogs like these I can't really give you too many updates because they're just going to be the same kind of thoughts and feelings. So I'd rather give you one kind of halfway through and then towards the end or after I've finished. So I feel like that's going to be the plan for this one. The rest of tonight though is probably going to be spent here just doing odd jobs, tidying up. Tom's downstairs doing something. Kiwi's obviously with us. She is very happy that the sofa is here. This is another reason actually why I wanted to start bringing stuff around here, because I wanted this to start feeling like our home, especially for Kiwi, because it's obviously a massive change for her and I want to make it as smooth as possible. So I'm trying to bring some of her toys around here so that her smell is here as well as ours, and she seems to be pretty happy with the setup, so hopefully that means that we are on the right course. And yeah, we're just gonna go with the flow, see where the next few days takes us, and as I said, I'll update you guys once I've read some more of this one. But yeah, first initial thoughts are that I am enjoying this one. It's definitely a slower paced book, but I'm not mad about it because I am enjoying finding things out as I go along, and I feel like the pacing suits the nature of this mystery, and if it was any different I feel like it would be a bit jarring. So hopefully I continue to enjoy this book. You'll definitely find out in the next clip, and yeah, I'm hoping that I do, because I really do want to get back to it so that I can figure out how this all ties up. I hope you're ready for some updates, guys, because I do have a few to share with you. The first is that I did finish The It Girl by Ruth Ware, and I was very pleasantly surprised by this book. I've heard a lot of people in the last few days say that this wasn't the best. However, I personally had a really good time with it. Now, whilst I did struggle to get into the story initially, I was definitely intrigued by the murder mystery element. The fact that this is told in dual timeline really does help. It helps move the story along, and it also gives you a different look at the case, because we of course are learning what went on back in the day when the murder occurred, but we are also looking at our characters and seeing how they actually coped with everything that went on and how they're still trying to deal with the events of that night a few years down the line. I really liked all of our characters in this. I did think that one person was behind it from the like 60-page mark, and I will say it wasn't who I thought it was. There was a twist that I wasn't expecting, and I can honestly say that I was pleasantly surprised. My issue with a lot of thrillers is that the ending just spoils it for me, because I feel like authors don't quite know how to wrap the story up, and whilst I felt like this was a little bit rushed, I did like the twist, and the person behind the crime and the way that it was committed was very believable. It definitely stays true to the characters that we know from, you know, the earlier chapters, and so I will say that it is a pretty satisfying ending. There's a lot of misdirection in this book, which you would expect in a mystery thriller. We have a lot of different things pop up that makes our character think that what is happening is actually different to what she first thought. But I like the fact that the journalistic element to this wasn't as invasive. Yes, there were a couple of incidents where the main character had to leave her home and things like that because journalists were hassling her, but we have a journalist in here called Geraint, who is a Welshie, so of course, you know, he's got manners. But yeah, he was very sensitive in the way that he went about this. Maybe not at first, because he does show up to our main character's place of work, which isn't the best, but after that he apologises profusely. He says, I just wanted to talk to you and kind of let you know that I think that the person who was accused of this crime is actually innocent, and that is essentially how our main character then starts to doubt herself, because she's had doubts from the beginning because her testimony put this man behind bars, and so if he was innocent then it changes everything. And so yeah, she's dealing with a lot of guilt. She doesn't really know what actually went on the night of the murder. She is second guessing herself, and now she's digging things up from the past. It is all coming back to her, and it's gonna affect everything. All of her relationships, the way she feels about herself, and she is also pregnant in this as well, and we see how the stress affects her and her journey through the pregnancy, which I do think was a very interesting touch. So all in all, I did really enjoy this one. I gave it 4 stars as I mentioned. Thank you, Chloe, for sending this one my way. Definitely a more enjoyable Ruth Ware book for me. It's more of a murder mystery rather than a thriller. We have a kind of tiny section at the end of the book where I would say that that is more of a thriller, but the majority of this book is a murder mystery. It's a bit slower. We have a large cast of characters that are somehow caught up in a murder, and of course 10 years down the line we're looking back and trying to figure out if the man who was convicted was actually guilty. So I really did enjoy this one. I read it a lot slower than I thought I was going to, but that may be the murder mystery element to it. Oh, I forgot to say actually, I read this one on reading sprints. I hosted some reading sprints the other day just because I did want to get through the rest of this book, and I can happily say that I did manage to do so. I finished this book on sprints, and yeah, I got to share my thoughts with everyone then. So if you would like to join in on some future reading sprints from me, please do make sure that you are subscribed. I do them pretty sporadically and spontaneously, but I had a really good time hosting them. Quite a few people joined, and I had some amazing chats, and obviously got a lot of reading done. So yes, I'm very happy with this one. It's been a positive vlog so far. I've had a 5-star read and a 4-star read, and hopefully that continues. I have actually started Midsummer Mysteries. I've gotten up to page 67, so I think I've read 4 short stories so far. I am really enjoying these. I don't tend to read short stories, however I do enjoy these ones. I will say I feel like I am missing out on the novel format in terms of I just want a complex murder mystery, and obviously in a short story you don't quite get that. You get the introduction, you're told what the mystery is, and then how it was eventually solved. And whilst I'm enjoying it, I just want more. I always want more, especially from Agatha Christie. But I will say there have been some good stories so far. I think my least favourite was Harlequin's Lane, mainly because I don't feel like I actually knew what was going on in that story. I think there are a few different stories focusing on Harlequin throughout these short story collections, so I do feel like I need to do more research into that character because I wasn't sure if it was paranormal or what, and I was just pretty confused. But that is the only one that I didn't really gel with. Other than that, I have enjoyed each one so far, and I will be continuing to read these as and when I feel like it, really. I have downloaded the audiobook on Everand as well, and Hugh Fraser and David Suchet are some narrators who, if you don't know, play Captain Hastings and Poirot in the ITV adaptations of Agatha Christie's Poirot books, and yeah, just listening to this was fantastic. So I've been listening and reading at the same time, which is called immersive reading, and I feel like that's the best way because I'm concentrating on the individual short stories, and as a whole the collection so far has been a pleasant reading experience. And then my final update is that I've actually started Murder on the Menu by Alex Coombs. I started this one last night and I'm almost at the halfway mark. This book is 310 pages, I want to say, and I'm currently on page 130, so I am getting there. The plan for today is to sit down and hopefully finish this one because I flew through the first 130 pages. I wasn't sure if I was going to, because when I first started reading this book I wasn't really gelling with it. I feel like there was a lot of talk about food and being a chef, which I really wasn't bothered about, but as we have gotten deeper into the mystery I am definitely more interested now, and I want to see how these group of characters come together to hopefully solve the case. In this one we follow our main character Charlie, who, as I've mentioned, is a chef. She's recently left her job in London and moved to a village in the idyllic countryside. It doesn't say which village, and it says the old forge on the village green seems just the place for her high quality cooking. But when she gets there she realises that she is classed as an outsider, the locals don't like her, and she does get on the wrong side of a police officer and also a wealthy businessman. And when that businessman turns up dead, suspicion does fall on Charlie, and so she decides that she has to clear her name, and she teams up with her kitchen staff in order to try and figure out who committed the crime and why they have such a vendetta against her. Like I said, I am enjoying this one at the minute. It is definitely a fast-paced read. I'm not loving all the chefy elements to it. I feel like the story could be moved along a bit quicker without those, but I see why they are important because they are relevant to the character. I don't know if they're relevant to the overall mystery, but that is of course the main setting of this book, is the old forge and the kitchen that she is now trying to open, so it does play a big part in it. And whilst I don't love it, I can overlook it because I am interested in the actual murder mystery itself. So hopefully, as I said, I can fly through this one today. I feel like I can, to be honest with you. I don't really have any plans. It is currently 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I do need to go to my new house later on to clean a few bits and move things around because we're getting our fridge delivered tomorrow, and it's an American fridge freezer, so it's gonna be big, and we're also getting a new washing machine and tumble dryer. So I just need to go to the house, make sure the doors are clear, and yeah, just make sure that they can get everything in basically, and mop the floors and things like that, just to make it all look nice for people that come round. So yeah, that is the plan, but I think I'm gonna sit down now and hopefully power through. I know Leanne from Literary Diversions is hosting reading sprints today. I don't know for how long. Hopefully though she is still going and I can join and read this book. But yeah, I'm sorry for the very long update. I finished the It Girl, I dove in to Midsummer Mysteries straight away, and then as I've said, last night I sat down and started Murder on the Menu and just flew through it. So had a lot to update you guys on, but I feel like maybe putting it all together was a bit better. I feel like individual clips I can sometimes get a bit rambly and I need to just get to the point. So I feel like I've done that today. But yeah, 2 books down, 2 books to go. I'm having a good time and hopefully I will have finished another one by the end of today. It's just gone 4:30. I finished the book and I'm gonna give it 3 stars. This started out quite promising, however the ending just wasn't a good one for me. I guessed who was behind it pretty early on actually. I wasn't sure if I was gonna be correct, but the closer we got to the ending, the more I thought that it was a bit obvious. And yeah, I did figure out who the culprit was. I will also say, I feel like this was a little bit disjointed. It was quite convenient towards the end. A lot of things happened that led our main character to solve the mystery. And the way it happened, as I've said, was very convenient. Yes, she was in danger, but she got out of it pretty quickly, and yeah, people were in the correct places at the correct times in order to help her and make sure she got out of this bad situation. Saying that though, I am glad that I read it. It was a fun time. I have read it quite quickly. It took me a while to read it this afternoon actually. As I said, I think it's just gone 4:30. I now have Steph's reading sprints on because Leanne finished hers, so I switched over to Steph's and I've just finished this one, as I've said. So it's been a productive day, but a bit of a slower reading one. I don't know why, but as soon as I went to pick up this book up today, I just really struggled, and I don't know if it was because I was starting to figure out who had done it, or if I was just getting a bit, not fed up, but uninterested in the mystery. I think that's what it was. And yeah, unfortunately that has meant that I've given it 3 stars, which ultimately is not a bad rating. As I've said, I flew through it. It was a good time, but I feel like the mystery got away from me at some parts. I feel like it was very complex in some parts, but then in other parts it felt like a completely different book. And so yeah, I just feel like something was missing, and that has unfortunately meant that I can't give it a higher rating. I don't know if I will read any more books in this series. This is the first book in a new series called the Old Forge Cafe Mysteries. So yeah, I don't know. I may keep an eye out and follow this author for some updates. I know that she has a lot of other books as well, so I will have a look and see if any of them sound more up my street. But I do just want to say again, thank you Emily for sending this one my way. This was a wild card. I'd never heard of it before, and even though it's not had the best rating for me, I did have a good time with it, and I am glad that I read it. So thank you for sending this one my way. I haven't read any more of Midsummer Mysteries yet. I am planning to. I will probably take a break for now though, because I feel like I'm getting a bit of a headache. It's a very hot day. I haven't drank enough, and I do need to go to the house later on to clean it. I'm not sure if I said earlier. So I think I'm gonna just chill for a bit and take it easy, probably watch some YouTube videos, and yeah, carry on reading Midsummer Mysteries when I'm home later on tonight. Not gonna lie guys, it has been such a long time since I last updated this vlog, and as you can probably tell, I am in a different space. We have finally done it. Tom and I have managed to move house, and we have just spent the first night here, which was so exciting. And yeah, we just had a really lovely chilled night. As I've said though, I haven't updated you guys in a while, and that is of course because we have been moving. This past week has been one of the most draining and stressful weeks. I'm so glad that it's now over. Of course we do still have a few more things to sort out. We still have to sort out stuff in our old house and things like that, but we're in. It feels so nice, and yeah, just being able to sleep here last night and wake up in a new space that is completely ours is just so magical, and I'm so proud of us. It's been a very long journey, as some of you may know, but yeah, it's just so worth it in my opinion now, and I can't wait to settle in properly and start making this house a home. Saying that though, you're here for some updates about the books I've been reading, and I'm very happy to say that I have finished Midsummer Mysteries by Agatha Christie, which means that I have finished all the books that I wanted to read for this vlog. Now, I was actually immersive reading this book, which means that I was listening to the audiobook as well as reading it physically. I feel like that is actually a good way for me to go moving forward in terms of consuming short stories, because you guys know I'm not a lover of short stories. I do find it hard to actually get connected to the characters, and I feel like it doesn't hold my interest as much, but this one was surprisingly one that I did enjoy, and I say surprisingly just because of what I've just said. I obviously love Agatha Christie, but again, with this being a short story collection, I wasn't sure how much I would enjoy it, but it really did surprise me. I had a good time with it. I feel like it is a very good collection of stories to read during the summer months. So again, thank you Victoria for sending this one my way. I'm glad that I was able to read it, and I'm glad that I managed to prioritize it now as well, because we are actually almost in September guys, which is blowing my mind. And yeah, I wanted to hold on to summer a little bit longer, which is why I finished off the vlog with this one. I can't tell you too much about this one in particular because it's a load of different short stories. I would highly recommend the audiobook. It is available on Everand, that's how I listen to it, and it has a really good cast of characters. I think we have 3 different narrators. We have Hugh Fraser, David Suchet, and I can't for the life of me remember the name of the woman, but she has narrated a few books by Agatha Christie in the past, and I do enjoy her narration style. It's definitely not my favourite. I do prefer Hugh Fraser, but as a whole, this was a really interesting compilation of short stories, and I'm really happy to have read it, as I've said, and completed it. I think I will be reading the autumn collection soon as well, because I do own that one. And again, I am looking forward to those and to see which short stories are included in that. But yeah, this is a beautiful book. I'm so happy that I enjoyed it. I think I'm gonna give it 3 stars as a whole. I don't quite know though, because I did enjoy them. I'm not sure. I think it's about a 3.5, 4 star. I'm not sure. I think I need to sit on my rating for a bit with this one, but yeah, had a good time with it. Glad I read it. It's gonna look stunning on my shelves with the rest of these hardcover collector's editions of Agatha Christie's works. And as I said, I will be continuing on with the rest of the books in this seasonal series. So that means it's time to wrap up this video. In terms of least favourite to favourite, I think my least favourite out of the stack was Murder on the Menu by Alex Coombs. I did enjoy this one, but it didn't hold my attention as much as the other books did. I feel like it wasn't necessarily my type of book. Whilst I did enjoy it, there were some aspects such as the cooking in here, which I felt like was thrown in there just to make the book a bit different, and it was something that came up a lot and it just wasn't for me. I did also find the ending to be quite predictable, and whilst it was fast-paced, it just wasn't really high stakes enough for me. So that's why this one was my least favourite. I still enjoyed it, had a good time with it, but comparing it to the other books, this was definitely the weakest. Then I think I'm going to place Midsummer Mysteries by Agatha Christie. Again, I had a really good time with this one. I really did enjoy it, but this book was one that I picked up when I had a spare few minutes so that I could read a short story here and there. I wasn't necessarily engrossed in the story as a whole, and so that is why it isn't higher on the list. Then I think that the book in second place is The It Girl by Ruth Ware. I was very pleasantly surprised by this book after hearing so many negative reviews about it. It was a slower paced murder mystery book, but I loved the dual timeline element to it. I really enjoyed seeing the friendship in this book as well, and even though that is marred with tragedy, it's something that is so important and integral to this group of characters that are in this book, and the way that everything played out was very intense, and I didn't see it coming, which is also a good shout. I did see it coming more towards the end, but yeah, I was completely blindsided by another character for the majority of this book. So when that reveal came, yeah, it blew my mind. So this is the one in second place. And then the final book for this vlog, and my favourite out of the bunch, was No Escape by Lucy Clark. I was shocked at how much I enjoyed this one. I don't know what it was, but it just gripped me from the start. I loved the writing style and the setting, and the whole mystery as well was so intriguing that I didn't want to put this book down. I flew through it. I love the dual timeline aspect of this as well. I feel like that definitely helped with the pacing, and I've come to find that that's what I really enjoy in my murder mystery. I do like a dual timeline because you do get to see where our characters are now compared to what happened before, and obviously information is given in drips and drabs, and so it doesn't get boring or tedious. I feel like you get the reveals and it's very satisfying. And yeah, even though this is a bigger book, I absolutely loved it. It still stuck with me. I've thought about it so much since I finished it, and I will say I have actually read another Lucy Clark book since reading this one. I am doing a reading vlog where I read Kindle Unlimited thrillers, and a Lucy Clark book is in that one as well, so keep your eyes peeled for that to see if I enjoyed that book as much as this one. But I'm really happy that I also have The Hike by this author on my TBR. I have the physical copy of it, so I do want to dive into that one once it gets to the colder months. I don't know why, but I feel like that's a book I'd want to read in January or February. Like I said, don't know why, but I just feel like it gives me those vibes. I love going on hikes, and I feel like the cover just looks like a hike I would go on during those months. So who knows, maybe I'll save it till then. But yeah, absolutely love this one. It's a perfect summer read. I feel like it would be a really good one to read on holiday as well. I feel like I would have loved to have read this one by the sea or by the pool as well. I just feel like I would have had such a good time, and whilst I did love it so much here, I feel like if I would have read it abroad, I would have connected with it even deeper as well. So there we have it, guys. These are all of the books that I managed to read in this vlog. Once again, I want to say a massive thank you to Emily, Chloe and Victoria for sending these ones to me on my birthday. I'm so happy that I managed to prioritise them. I'm glad that I enjoyed each and every single one. There wasn't one that I despised, which is obviously great. And I have found some new favourites as well as a new author, and I've gotten through a short story collection as well, which I probably would have put off had I not prioritised it for this video. Please do let me know your thoughts on any of these books down below if you've read them. If you haven't, has this video made you want to pick them up? I would love to know. If you have have watched this video all the way through and would like to let me know that you're still here, please go ahead and leave me a boat emoji down in the comments. My favourite book out of the bunch was of course No Escape, and it has a boat on there, and of course the boat features in the story and is a big part of the story and the mystery as well. So I feel like that would sum the video up very nicely. I know I say it all the time, but seeing you guys comment the emoji of the video truly does mean the world to me. It blows me away that you guys watched these all the way through. So if you are still here but don't have anything in particular that you would like to say, please go ahead and comment that now. As well as that, please don't forget to click the like button if you like this video and the subscribe button if you'd like to see more content from me. But that is it from me today, guys. Thank you once again for watching, and I will see you soon in my next video. Goodbye!